As a mother, we're often told to give and serve. No one really talks about how reclaiming your journey through art can be an essential act of self-preservation. Hello and welcome back to my studio. My name is Rebecca Victoria and I'm a professional fine artist. I really also gave myself permission to just focus on having art in my day. I feel like that was a really beneficial thing for all of us, and it's really been helpful. It's meant that I could have creativity in my life. I think that I would much rather have a slightly messy house and feel more like myself and feel like I'm getting back to who I was before kids, or more or less a new version of myself with the art before and now the me after kids. I feel like there's been three versions. It's like the art before, the me with my kids, and then now the creative me showing my kids who I kind of was before I had them and the passions that I had. And I think that is something really valuable for them to learn and see, but it's also just so beneficial for me in my mental health and everything surrounding those kind of things. As mothers, we're really just taught to give endlessly, and the history of being a parent is that you set everything aside for your child and that you kind of are here to serve them at this point. And I just had to give myself permission that I was still a person and that it was okay for me not to fall into that trap. It doesn't mean that I need to shrivel up that little piece of creativity that used to live in my soul and let that dry up inside. It just means that I need to figure out a way that they can coexist together. We don't need to feel stretched thin to be a good parent or a good partner. We need to feel like ourselves and feel happy, and we need to do the things that really nourish and feed our soul. And if that means not having a tidy house all the time, not always having folded laundry, then I think that it's worth it. I think that the world that we live in today, it's so fast and high paced that I think the slowing down and having a little intentional piece and showing this to my kids and modeling this for my family has been a really helpful thing. And recently, my daughter and I have been having a lot of studio time together as well. We will come down to the studio together in our bottom level of our house, and I will set up 2 easels side by side, a table each. And she has 2 tubs of paints that I let her use. They're just like old, cheap, crappy paints. So I couldn't care less what she does with them. I set her up with a canvas. I set up with my canvas that I'm working on. And we just work and have fun together and be creative and chat and laugh and listen to music and have the best time. And it's been really helpful for our relationship firstly, but also just to show her what I do and to show her the things that really light me up, and to just be in the space and bounce off each other's ideas together, because sometimes she'll use a color and then I'll start using that on my canvas. I wouldn't necessarily have used that color if she wasn't there. So I think that we really almost collaborate and bounce off ideas together, and that's been amazing for both of us in so many ways. And it's so cute just to chat about things and teach her little things. Now she knows that what a portrait versus a landscape painting is of orientation wise. And just little things like that. It's been really fun learning how to teach her and showing her the way to do things. I do want to start teaching her some things like shading with the pencil and things like that. So that's probably the next step we will go on to. I try to think back to how I started to learn and try to teach her in those kind of strategies. But it might be cool to try to get a control group or try to get a little class together that she could be a part of. It'd be a few kids and we could all just paint together and talk and learn things like that. That could be a really, really cool way to teach the next generation a few painting things or drawing techniques and just really share my talent. That's kind of the thing with this YouTube channel. I think it's all about sharing and teaching and passing things on. I feel like a lot of the practical tips that I learned were taught through my studio class, and then now a lot of the conceptual thinking that I do share in this video came from art school. So I think that it's a really nice blend of the two of them, and I think that would be very beneficial to be sharing kids from a younger age and really cultivating that open mindset of how an artist thinks and how a creative person thinks, and just showing that one thing can mean so many different things at once is a beneficial skill for them to learn, like different perspectives. So that's been really helpful, having studio time together, and we've really, really loved it. So yeah, I think it would be really cool to start teaching the next generation a few other things like that. And as I said, marrying the conceptual thinking, the art school thinking. They didn't really teach us any practical tips, not in my school anyway. I went to 2 different universities because I went on exchange in Paris, and they really didn't teach us anything practical. It was all about like project-based stuff. It was all conceptual. And it was really teaching us how to think like an artist, I guess I would explain. It was teaching you how to think like an artist. Okay, so these are some examples of my books for each of my classes. So this is first year, second semester. And this was our Thursday class, which was our conceptual thinking class. The theme that I followed was time. And so I ended up doing like a ton of writing in these books because I was really thinking about all the things that conceptually went into the work. And then I would do things like I'd do little sketches, and then we'd write about things, just like thinking about things that related to the concept. So I was thinking a lot about distance. I was in a long distance relationship with my husband. He lived in Canada and I lived in Australia. And I was just like thinking about all the different ways in which I could explore distance. And I've got things written about like, could put places on the map to where I've been, where I haven't been, like color certain bits in. Could look at the distances between the places. My boyfriend lives in Canada, so this is probably a major thing in my life right now. Our distance is 1,512.5 kilometers. And the approximate flight time is 19 hours and 22 minutes. The idea of the world being smaller through social media, ideas of the world always spinning. So things like that and then you would pick one of those topics and go in deeper. And we would talk about a lot of other things like the archive, researching. One of the things that I did was I took a screenshot every time I FaceTimed him, and I used that as one of my archives. And I ended up using all those pictures in a certain way. And it's just really thinking about the way that the artwork is constructed mentally, all the meaning behind it, all of the things that you are bringing into the room that day, and how this feeds the artwork, how this feeds the concept, and how you build a story around the artwork to feed that concept. So this would be a really cool thing that I could start to teach my kids when I'm in the studio and painting with them, and it'd be really fun to share this side of the art practice and start getting them to think about what they're painting and why they're painting it, the reasons behind it, and really start getting them to have a bit more intentionality in their paintings, because my daughter tends to paint a lot of abstract pieces. I'll show you the one she did the other day. I've got started using canvas pads for her. So I've just taped them onto a board, and she picks out the colors that she wants, and lately she's been wanting to mix everything in together. So she works on it slowly as I'm doing mine, and then I try to see if she wants to do multiple layers. And I really just want to foster this in her because I think it's so important in today's age that we're not just focusing on academics. I want to really foster in her creativity because I think it's really important. And I think that helping her think in this way conceptually will benefit her for her schooling as well, and it'll benefit her in all aspects of her life, in her relationships, in her sporting activities, just like everything will come back to this, and I know that for sure. So I think that her understanding that there is always a different way to do something, there is always a reason behind something, will only benefit her in life, and I think a really great way to teach her is through art. So yeah. That's what I have for you today. I hope that you had a nice time listening to me. I hope that you enjoyed it, and if you think this will be beneficial for someone else, please share it to them. I would really appreciate it. I am sending you so much love, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.